It's 1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com. Paul Hardy from Martin Hardy Mazzotti on the horn.
Morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Let me give you the first paragraph from the story at News 10 that was over the past couple of days we've been seeing. A convicted killer's sentence cut in half after a Capital Region judge made a very rare decision that could have implications on other violent cases involving young offenders. This kid was 16 when he was convicted of manslaughter, and he was not granted youthful offender status. So he went back to court to ask for youthful offender status, and the judge did something super rare, right, Paul?
Well, yeah, so the youthful offender status is used sparingly, but used in New York, and what it really means is a person charged with a crime where he or she was between the age of 16 and 19, so 16, 17, or 18, if they are deemed to be under this statute, in essence, whatever crime they have is automatically sealed, and they're now charged with youthful offender. So here we had murder, right? It was on a video. People could see the murder, and I don't think that they expected that the youthful offender status, or they expected it was either going to be youthful offender status granted or it was going to be denied. Here, the judge did something, and they used the word unprecedented, and I didn't find a whole lot behind this that I can say that it's not unprecedented, where the judge just said, well, we're going to kind of give him a few more years, and he's going to be out in an additional 3 years.
Right.
They cut the sentence from 25 to 12. He has time spent, so like Paul said, he'll be out in 3 years.
I mean, I'd like to see what the kid exactly had to say to the judge. He really must have sold him on it. That, and when I was growing up, I thought it was like cut and dry, like in stone. I could go out and commit murder if I was 15, and I would be out by the time I was 18.
Yeah, no. So there is something if you're under the age of 16. So here we have that in New York. So if you at what age is a child? 13, 14, 15. But from the 16 to 19 age, you can be convicted of murder. You can do the whole sentence, or they can look at circumstances. And here they said, listen, at the time of sentencing, the judge didn't. Back then, the judge didn't consider the youthful offender and the age of the defendant enough, didn't take enough in consideration. Therefore, in essence, it looked like I'm going to kind of work something out that's probably fair. I'm not granting youthful offender, but I'm going to work something out that I think, as a judge, is fair.
So, and I know it's hard because I can only put myself in the family of the victim, but isn't prison to rehabilitate, and doesn't this kid come across as someone who it may have worked on and it's actually rehabilitated, and don't we want rehabilitated people back out into society? Isn't that the whole point of prison?
Prosecutors, by the way, are saying that he's continued his violent ways, 12 violations, 5 of them violent offenses in prison. So, I don't know what they're referring to, but when you're in prison, I mean, I've heard that, just opening your mouth can be a violation. You know what I mean? Sure
can. And so, there he is. He's a kid in there. And you look at it two ways. One, it hasn't affected him at all. He continued in his bad ways. Two, getting written up in prison is pretty basic, especially at that point. There's a survival component to being a bit of a fighter and fighting back. But sure, they look at this and they said, look, the prosecutor said, we got this same kid who we watched on video plunge a knife into somebody's chest and kill him. Now he's going to be out on the streets. Judge looked at everything and said, no, this kid is on the road to rehabilitation, and more prison time isn't going to do him any good, and must view the fact that when he gets out, he is not going to be violent.
Set your Google alerts for Jala Vanderhorst.
That's the kid, yeah.
See how that comes down the line here.
Well, I mean, what's up with this judge, though, Paul? I mean, is he going to be reprimanded by his other fellow judges?
I don't think so. I think what he did is he looked at this and made a pretty gutsy decision, but one that probably, because, again, you can't imagine any upside for the judge to do anything other than stick to the books, right? So when the judge goes outside of the rules, then he's doing so because he really felt this was the right thing to do in this case, and I'm sure he's got lots of precedent to back it up. I just didn't find any.
Sure. Yeah, this is I love we're all armchair here. We're all armchair judges. He's the man in charge.
Put yourself in his mother's shoes.
Sure.
Put yourself in the victor's mother's shoes. You can actually see both sides.
Yeah. Good point.
So thanks, Paul. We appreciate it.
All right, talk soon, guys.
All right, there goes Paul Harding, Martin Harding Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010, 1-800-LAW-1010.com. 100-LAW.